Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cyndy. Thank you so much for being here. So there's a lot going on in the world. Well, certainly the world of the United States. All right. So as I'm recording this, they're trying to deal with armed and dangerous on a campus. You had the shooting of 3 Black people over the weekend. The gun violence situation in the United States is so sad, frankly, and so tragic. And one can only hope that things settle down and some good laws get put into place. And what we're seeing now is we're seeing an escalation of that kind of violence because there are energies working very hard to keep people angry and paranoid, scared. And so, what you have is a lot of people reacting, acting out. Kind of sad. In any case, so things got real for Donald Trump this morning. Judge Chutkan said March 4th, they will begin jury selection. And that's that. Apparently, Trump's lawyers just kept loudly insisting that, 2026 was the appropriate time and there wasn't enough time to. It didn't work. I do remember saying I'm not sure if it was a video or in one of the pendulum sessions, but I do remember saying that it wasn't going to be what Jack wanted. It wasn't going to be what the defense wanted, but it was going to be much closer to what Jack wanted than the defense. And so I think he was looking for January 2nd or 4th or something. And so we're starting March 4th. So things are going to continue to get real. As I'm doing this obviously on Monday afternoon. Mark Meadows testified in Georgia about why his case should be moved to a federal court. But he just wants the whole thing dismissed because, it's just wrong. And he was doing everything he was doing because he was working under the president's orders. And that's not going to fly. Fannie Wills came back and said, okay, but if you were doing that, and it's had to do with the election, that involves the Hatch Act. So, either way, I think he's going to find himself in a place. Mark Meadows is not going to get off scot-free. Okay, that's what I can tell you. What I want to look at is some of the dynamics that are going on within the inner Trump circle. So I want to know how his family's doing in relation to what's going on. Apparently, after he released that mugshot on cups and T-shirts and whatever else, he raised like $7.4 million. But I can't remember where I saw it, but they were saying that it is anticipated that Trump is going to spend between $10 and $15 million a month on all of his assorted legal defenses. So, I guess $7 million isn't that much, but how many mugshot T-shirts can he put out? I don't know. Alrighty. So I want to look at the Trump and the family dynamics based on all the crazy that's going on right now. Here we go. Trump and family dynamics. Trump and family dynamics. Trump and family dynamics. So as near as I can figure, Ivanka has sort of shifted her focus away from daddy. And the boys, of course, are doing everything they can do to help their father, but it sounds like the more they try to help, almost the worse they make it. So let's see what we've got here. We're starting off with the Knight of Wands. And so this really is about information that is starting to solidify. All right. So whether that is court dates, and the apparently if Meadows is successful in getting this transferred to federal court, then I guess Trump's going to do the same thing, try to get his transferred. I mean, the only advantage to the federal court system is that apparently it's going to be, they're saying a broader jury pool. So maybe they think the jury will be more in tune with what the defense wants. But it's still Fonnie Willis going after them. But I mean, the obvious advantage is that Trump can get everything erased. He can, pardon himself. I don't know. Okay. But so what's happening is they're getting this flood of information in, and they're having a hard time actually trying to assess the best way to go forward, because they're kind of well aware of the fact that there are going to be some really harsh judgments coming down. And let's face it, if there's one thing Trump, and by extension his family, are not used to, it's being held accountable. It's being told, no, you can't do that. And so that's really, really causing some stress and tension within the family, because certainly the boys are trying to stay super duper loyal to daddy. But, it's not like he was out there winning Daddy of the Year awards, okay? His sons, no matter how flawed and faulted, know what their father is. They have a far better understanding of Daddy than we do. And they know when he is hitting those thresholds where, duck up behind the furniture because there's an explosion coming. And like as they're assessing, it's not good news, right? And so the boys, they're doing what they can. They go out on these wacky right wing media places and they tell their crazy little stories. But it feels very much like he's becoming really volatile. I think the more real it becomes, the more volatile he is to be around. They're kind of seeing the force, if you will, of the government in action. And I'm not talking about Biden's administration. I'm talking about the court system, and the force that can be used to move things along to get results. I mean, from as near as I can figure it, God, something like 4,000 times Trump has initiated a lawsuit or something over the course of his years, but this would have been I'm pretty sure most of it would have been, within the New York, City of New York, State of New York kind of system. And they were always civil cases. And so he's playing with a kind of a fish that he doesn't actually have a lot of familiarity with, okay? Nor do the boys. There's a lot of fear within the family about what is going to be exposed. And this is the thing. Daddy's in trouble because of things he did around the election, around documents. But let's not forget, there is also that court case coming up by Letitia James, which has to do with the Trump Corporation. And there continues to be some real concern about that and what could possibly come out of that with the exposure. Well, what's coming out of it is the Death card and the Five of Cups. And so, there is significant change coming to the way Trump Corp is going to be able to function and operate as they go forward. And that directly impacts the sons because that's where, their employment, as it were, is. Now, I know that Letitia James, blocked their ability to kind of move headquarters, because I think at one point they were trying to just move the whole operation to Florida so it would be out of her jurisdiction. And it seems to me that got blocked. Now, at the point in time where they lose their case and she wins, I'm not sure if he will be able to, at that point, then move whatever tattered remains are left of his company to Florida or some other state. But there's definitely a lot of change and a lot of loss coming to the family. They spend a lot of energy trying really, really hard to focus in sort of the rebirth, the phoenix rising out of the ashes. How do we make this work for us? But even they have enough realism in their heads to recognize that this is not going well and this is not going to end in their favor. This is what they are coming to understand. The strength of the cases, that the power of the court system is not in their favor. And they can do all the nonsense, crazy things that they like to do. Knight of Pentacles, they can push ahead. They can, bravado. They can do all of that kind of stuff. But it's ultimately not going to work for them. So energetically, what you have is you have truly an incredible fear of the law. Okay, like they're really scared, and they're scared of the limitations and constraints that are going to be put not only on daddy, but by extension on the family. And there's a lot of fear there. I mean, the civil case with Letitia James, not like anybody's going to get tossed in jail, but there's definitely an energy around things being constricted and them not being able to find a way to sort of wiggle out. Hang on a second. This has a lot to say about it. So as far as, the family goes, Ivanka is got her own worries, right? I mean, she's scared about what may be coming down the pike for her with regards to business dealings that went on when she was in the White House, particularly with the Chinese and Saudi Arabia. And she's got a lot of worry and a lot of anxiety on that. She was so happy when it was all falling her way, right? But I don't think that she mentally and emotionally, I think she's got a whole lot more worry, even though she's not connected to the Letitia James case. She somehow managed to get herself severed from that. But definitely there is an awareness that there could be a significant amount of trouble coming for dealings and things that took place and happened with her and Jared during that 4-year presidential term. Within the family themselves, there's a lot of like, I wish we hadn't done this. I wish we had thought about that. What the heck were we thinking? But, Donald Trump truly was thinking that the presidency was ceremonial, right? He really did. He didn't actually think that the president had to make, really hard decisions and run a country. Donald's all about micromanaging, but delegating. And so for him, he didn't really understand, truly didn't understand the distinction between president of a company and president of a country. And he thought he would just kind of be able to. And the family also not really thinking about it. They got caught up in the glamour and the excitement when it actually looked like he had even a smidgen of a chance. And they didn't think about the kind of scrutiny they'd be under. They didn't think about what those impacts are. But boy, oh boy, they sure are feeling them now. And boy, oh boy, I think there's a lot of wishing that they could just turn back the clock. But things are going to start coming at them fast and furious. They really are. I don't think that they yet understand the degree to which there is going to be a bombardment of documentation, of paperwork, of strategies, of going to court to fight this, trying to get that appealed, it's all going on. And the one thing they know is that they can't keep Donald calm or centered or balanced. That's gone. And so being around him is like truly waiting for, the other shoe to drop. And the problem is that it's not a shoe. It's like it's raining shoes. Okay. Like every time they turn around, they're getting hit with something else. And more importantly, with the actual seriousness and significance of what is going on with them. So where does that take us? Well, it takes us to a place with the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Cups. There's going to be movement, communications, and I don't think the communications are going to bring happy news. I also think that there's going to, despite selling mugs, there's going to be financial constraints and worries and concerns going on there. In the back of Trump's head, he still believes that he can walk from this. He does. And he's just convinced that if he gets the right message out, and what he is failing to recognize and what the family is failing to recognize and or acknowledge is that a lot of Republicans, 50% or so, still, they want to vote for him. But that means 50% of other Republicans do not. It's also important to recognize how many Republicans they're not catching. Okay, like when they do the polls and all of this kind of stuff, what they're getting is people who own landlines. And more communication is happening through cell phones. Okay. And so because of that, where they're getting the support is from older white people with landlines. And they are kind of forgetting that there is that whole other group of so-called Republicans out there who aren't so enamored with Trump. They're not getting their opinions, their ideas, their attitudes about him are not getting recorded because they're not being accessed. Okay. And so there's a lot more negativity going on than pertaining to Trump than they sort of almost realize or acknowledge. We often talk about his base living in a bubble. Right? They're not getting the right information. They're not understanding what is actually going on because, everything is getting still to this day twisted by Fox News. And then you have, the other outlets that it's not even twisting. It's just flat out, propaganda and lies. And so what you're going to discover, though, both the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles have shown up here. And this boils down to money concerns and issues and emotions that are spiraling out of control. Trump is going to continue to lose donors, support, that kind of thing. He's only looking at these trials and these court cases as a money-making machine operation. He hasn't started to figure out yet that that's not how the court systems work. Okay. And he can have all the little nonsense that he wants. He can say, frankly, whatever he wants. But in the courts, he is going to be held to account, as a lot of the people around him. And, he is not going to have the support that he had before. Okay. There really is going to be a cooling on support for him as these trials start taking place. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the one in New York, for the business, because there's the business one in New York, and then there is the hush money one. For some reason, it seems to me, I gotta do a spreadsheet. I swear to God, to keep track of this stuff. But there's stuff going on in January, if I'm not mistaken, including the E. Jean Carroll. And so it is, once stuff starts bubbling, um, the base is the base. The base is going to do what the base is going to do. We need to stop worrying about the base because there's not enough of them to actually impact if everybody else does their job and votes. But as more and more information bubbles up, and frankly, and he continues his unhinged, erratic behavior, you're going to see a real cooling on him. Murdoch is already trying to get Youngkin going. Youngkin, I think, has some kind of an election coming up. This is Camp. He's another one who I think might be on the radar. But there's elections going on in their states, and I think they want to see kind of honestly how much power they amass as a result of those elections. I think it might be the legislatures or something. I don't know. But there's going to be other conservative people, not DeSantis, kind of, trotted out. And that's where the donor money is going because they recognize that Trump is a loser and that he is not going to be able to walk away and take his rewards with him. Okay. The court cases are going to cause way more information to come out than he would like to come out. And so what you have is him in peril, the family splintering, and a lot of, frankly, regrets. They just don't have a clue what is coming down the pike at them. And they really, in some ways, it's surprising, but it feels very much like they're just going to be in for a real shock as this stuff starts percolating up to the surface and more gets to look what's at the bottom of the deck. Okay. Oh my. Okay, so the bottom of the deck, you have the devil, you have the greedy king card, and you have the 5 of swords, and the 2 of swords, and 10 of pentacles. This little dynasty is going to crumble. So that's what I know right now. So there's a lot of actual tension within the family. He's lashing out. And I think that overall, it's almost like despite what his lawyers tell him, the ones that aren't, kissing his butt, he's not taking it in anymore. And I'm sure we have all experienced an event in our life that sort of rendered us like in a state of shock. And how when we're in that disassociated state, we really don't absorb anything else that's going on around us. It's like a fog that's around us. It can't penetrate through the sort of numb shock that we're feeling. And it very much feels like that's where he's at. So anything that doesn't conform to his vision is not, it's not getting absorbed. And so slowly but surely, court case by court date, he's going to start to realize that he's in a big heap of trouble and he can't just get out of it. But it very much feels like, in some ways, he's not absorbing the degree to which he is in a little bit of poop. Okay. Thank you very, very much for being here. If everything goes well, I will be putting out minis on Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to do Pendulum Friday. Please post your questions in the comment section of this video, or the other two that follow on Wednesday and Thursday. Thank you very, very much for being here. Your ongoing support is so incredibly appreciated. And I look forward to seeing you again. Until then, take care, be well. Bye-bye.